Lists are similar to strings in that they're both sequences of things. You can concatenate them, you can use lists, you can index into them, and you can use slices. So here's an example of some of the ways that strings are similar to lists are similar to strings. So in this example, we've got a word and another word, and we're concatenating it together. And then we've got a list and another list, and we're concatenating it together. And then we use the repeat operator, which I'll talk about in a second. So let's visualize how this works, just for fun, and see how that executes. Notice as we visualize it, it adds those variables to the frame, and then it creates the first list and the second list. Notice that the lists are, each element is in the list has its index in there, so it's easy to see. Now, what happens when I go and I concatenate cheeses together? So cheeses equals cheeses plus more cheeses. That's just shorthand for the plus equals, just a shorthand that we've seen before. So let's see what happens. Notice that it adds to the list the elements of the other list. So it adds on, similar to the way that it added on to the existing word. Now when we go and print word times 3, it just repeats the word 3 times. That's just what that multiplication operator does with a string. With the lists, the multiplication operator, the asterisk, does a similar thing in that it just repeats the list. Cheddar, Edam, Gouda, Havarti, Brie, Cheddar, Edam, Gouda, Havarti, Brie, Cheddar, Edam, Gouda, Havarti, Brie. So those are the ways that strings and lists are similar. Now they're also different in an important way because lists are mutable. And that means you can change individual elements in the list. With strings, you can't do that. So here's an example. So we're going to visualize that. So the first thing we're doing is we're initializing some sample values. Now we can index into the list and the word in a similar way. We got the 1th element of the list, and if we pull out the 1th element of the word, it's a U. Similarly, we can use the slices notation that we've seen before to extract everything from the 3rd element, from beyond the 3rd element, Havarti and Brie here. Or similarly, we can extract everything using the slice notation from the 3rd element and go on, ER duper. But what we can do with strings, with lists, is change individual elements. So you can see here, I'll back up a step. You can see here that when we change the 1th element of cheeses from Edam to Munster, we can do that because it's a list. But if we try to do the same thing with the string, it generates an error. String object does not support item level assignment. So you can't use that indexing notation on the left-hand side for a string, whereas you can with an array.